Hey everybody, what is up? This is your boy Devin LaVore and
Michelle LaVore
coming at
ya.
ya. So, did the Lord visit us yesterday? Did we have that visitation that we were expecting? Yes and no. Well, because why? Why was it a no?
Well, I guess it was a no because it was not what we expected, or not really what I expected
Or
for
what we were
sure.
wanting, what we
Yeah.
were hoping for. Because what are we hoping for? We're hoping for the end of the promise. We're hoping for that miracle that's going to launch us off to Nashville, Tennessee, to, just inherit the promise and all that. And
Yeah.
that's where we're hoping. We're always hoping when God moves or does something or whatever, we're like the disciples in the sense it's like, oh Lord, is now the time you're going to establish your kingdom? Are you going to do that thing? Because that's the thing that's at the front of our mind.
Yeah.
Are you going to do that thing? And he's like, well.
It's like, yes, but I'm doing this first.
But it's like the Lord did show up last night, and I really sensed him, and it was just a strange thing. It was almost unexplainable, right? For me personally.
For you, yeah.
For me, it was unexplainable because it was like this. It was like it was almost like a manifestation of the Ephesians, Isaiah 30:15, where he says, "In quiet confidence shall be your strength." I felt all of that. It was quiet, and it was confident, and there was just a sense of just strength there. There was a sense of just like, I can do anything. You know what I mean? That's what it felt like. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And but I couldn't explain it. And then Michelle was like, not really there with me.
Not at all.
Just gonna put the raw meat on the grill.
Yeah.
She was not there.
No, not at all.
Because you were disappointed.
I was very disappointed because it was just like, man, like I wanted something amazing, I guess, and instead.
What do you want, kid? I don't know, something amazing, I guess.
And
Incredibles.
Instead, it's quiet, it's silent, it's
the very opposite of what you were hoping
I wanted,
for.
And so I really Devin was just like, I feel God, and I'm just like, I got nothing.
Seriously, the Lord
but
just...
it was definitely, I couldn't deny the fact that it was silent. It was after we put our kids to bed, and trust me, it is usually not quiet, even though they're in bed, but it was quiet.
You could hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
And we put our two oldest, in a room together. That's just never good.
Yeah.
You're in the room 4 or 5 times, and eventually you're pulling one of them out because you guys just cannot do this.
Yeah.
It cannot happen.
Yeah.
And last night, they were
completely silent. They
did
amazing.
Wow.
And
as soon as we put them to bed, it was just like this, just like this holy hush just kind of came upon us.
But in my heart, there was not a hush. It was more of like
it was more like a boom, boom,
storm
boom.
Raging inside. Yeah. It definitely was not the quiet hush. And so and that really is kind of goes into...
It wasn't a quiet hush. It wasn't a holy hush because there was a lot of unholy noise coming at you.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
Mm-hmm. A ton.
Which I thought was actually good. I don't want to say that to you at the moment, but I thought it was good because it's like whenever the God does that, it's like, yeah, see, that's where you're at. This is what's going on. Look at you. Look at you. Look at all the stuff coming out of your mouth and all the... Look at that. That's not faith. That's not... So then you can recognize it.
Yep.
Because see, once the enemy gets exposed, he can't go back into hiding anymore and pretend like he's not there.
Yeah.
And
I think
with what happened to me on the inner healing thing. It was like, oh, you're totally exposed now. You've been attacking me from the sky. I didn't look up. Yeah. But it's like you can't.
Yeah.
Now I'm always going to be looking up now. You can't attack me from that angle anymore.
Yeah. And I think ultimately today I got to a place where it was just like, okay, well, thank you, Lord. Basically, He brought me down so He could lift me up. And just kind of it was just a showing of hey, this is how you're handling things and why you keep coming to this place every time of just almost utter despair, really. And it's like
every time things
things
go,
don't go the way that I want them to go, or think that they're gonna go,
or think that they should go, because we've been doing this, that, and the other thing. We've gone through the whole alphabet perfectly. Why is there no reward yet?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And so I guess I'll just touch on basically some of the revelation that God gave me.
Yeah.
And so I guess it was just basically like I grew up basically in a family that didn't know how to communicate. And so, you know, just through the years since I've met Devin, like I've really been working on trying to communicate. Because for me, it was...
So has Devin.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm in labor with you until Christ is formed, until the communication is formed in you.
Yeah. Because Devin has always been like, he's a communicator. He addresses the problems. And I've always been let's not address something. Or if I do address it, I internalize everything.
Yeah.
And
honestly, that's how I grew up too.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time you met me, the Lord himself had already fathered me into this way of communicating and being honest. And so it's like we both have that same similar. I mean, mine's actually worse, but we're not going to go there today.
But either way, it was like Devin was sharing with me last night, as much as I didn't want to hear some stuff. But it's like basically... We
always want to be encouraged when we're in the Molly Grubs.
But it was just like, he basically was like, well, you don't communicate like that anymore with other people, but you still communicate like that with yourself. And so what that is there's these issues that come up. But instead of addressing the issues, I tend to try and ignore them, or I just shelve them, and it's like, okay, we'll get to that later. Or
all this attack is coming and you're just ignoring it.
Yeah.
And it's
I think what God was really showing me today, and I finally, like this morning, I still woke up and I was just like, oh, I still feel stuff, and man, this is like really hard. But then really, I think it was God stirring up in me, and he's like, it was just like this point of like, okay, we need to deal with this. Like, and I was done. Like, I was just like, God, we need to talk about this. We need to deal with this, with what's going on. And so, you know, and out of that, it was just like all of this, the prayer and praise and truth came out of that. And I think, though, what I've learned, and hopefully it can help some others, is that ignoring a problem doesn't actually get rid of the problem. And I think, and you had reminded me, and God reminded me too, of like the Proverbs 3:5-6, and talking about like acknowledging the Lord.
Yeah.
But he kind of spun it a little bit differently. It's like, acknowledge the Lord in all your ways. But it's like, if you're denying, or if you're ignoring your ways, you're not really acknowledging God in those. So it's like, you can...
So basically, it's like that thing that the Lord told me a long time ago. He's like, Devin, I can't cover what you don't uncover.
Yeah.
If you're keeping this issue covered up, then I can't touch it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to force your hand open. I'm not going to pry your hand open. Yeah. Just uncover it. It's like, well, Lord, I don't like it when you do this. Yeah. Okay, well, now we can talk about it and we can address it. But as long as you're like, oh, I don't like that, but I'm going to shelve it and just pretend like, oh, I'm a man of faith. And it's like, God's like, that thing's just going to fester and grow into a cancer. Yeah. And you're going to blow up and you're not going to know why.
Yeah. You know? And I honestly think this was real. I mean, it really was just God. Because on Sunday, all day, why did I feel like I was in this weight room? Well, I was constantly trying to ignore the feelings I was having and trying to build my faith. Did not know that
until just now.
Yeah. And so it was such a divine setup by the Lord.
Yeah.
Because then...
He's like, here, there's some more weight.
Yeah.
And some more. Let's put another plate on.
Yeah.
Like, I can't handle that. Oh, really? Here's another plate.
Yeah. And
I'm getting crushed.
Yeah. And that's what I felt like last night. I'm like, I am just like completely crushed. But I feel like the revelation that I got, and it really has completely like changed how my approach with God is that I don't need to ignore the problems. I can see the problems, acknowledge that they're there, and say, wow, Lord, I'm really struggling with unbelief right now, but I'm going to choose to believe and trust you. I'm going to deny the feelings that I have, the thoughts that
it's like,
are
I
coming
see
at
them,
me.
but no, I'm not going to acknowledge them. I'm not going to engage with them.
Yeah. And so, like, God gave me, I feel like, a picture really for something for myself, but I'm going to, like, a good picture. It's relevant to me because I love food. And he gave me this picture of, like, if you're at a party or something and there's this chocolate cake. I love chocolate. And now, and I've been in this situation before where it's like, okay, there's this giant chocolate cake, but I know, like, I'm like, oh, I can't eat it. I know that I'm not going to eat that, you know, but instead of like really addressing it, it's almost like you just try and ignore the fact that there is this beautiful giant chocolate cake sitting on the table.
Is that why you be staring at my food all the time?
Yeah.
You be looking at my food like this.
Yeah. Like, it's like you're ignoring, you're trying to ignore it, but truly
you keep eyeballing it like 15 times.
And it doesn't matter, like, if you're at a house in a party and you could be in the other room, but the truth is your head, your mind is still wondering about that chocolate cake. And
this is so good. You didn't even tell me this today. That's why I'm kind of freaking out about it.
I just got it when I was in the bedroom.
Oh,
but yeah,
okay.
so
Awesome.
You're just like constantly thinking about it, but then at the same time you're like, I'm ignoring it. You're not there. You're not there. Nope, you're not there. But it's just like it's following you around, and you're really not even able to enjoy the party. And that is the truth, because I have been there before, and all you're thinking about is the food, and like, I can't have it,
because your mind
but I really
has
want
been
it.
captured by this thing.
Yeah. But instead,
wow,
God was just showing me, you know what?
That's
you
awesome.
can acknowledge, like, say, you know what? That is a delicious looking cake. I see that it's there, but I have decided I am not going to have a piece, and you can go in peace. And
because you dealt with the issue. You looked at it in the face. It's nice chocolatey icing face. And you're like, I see you. I do want you, but I can't have you. So this is the end of this conversation.
Yeah, and that's the end of it. And you can move on. You can go and enjoy the party and enjoy what you can eat. And I just, like, for me, that really spoke to me because
that's good. That's great.
It was just a great picture of when you deal with issues, then you can move on. When you just are ignoring them, you're actually not dealing with the issue, you know? And with God, it's the same way. We have to deal with the issues of our hearts and say, you know what, Lord, I am feeling this way. And like, these things are coming at me, but I'm going to choose to not have those issues affect my relationship with you. And I think, like, you know, just even personally, it's like, okay, Lord, I see we have these bills due, because normally, like, my strategy has been, I'm ignoring, I'm not going to try and think about those things. But then when something comes up and it triggers me to think about those things, it's like this vacuum that sucks me down, you know, because I haven't been dealing with the issue as it comes up. And so instead, it's like I can look at the issue and say, Lord, that is an issue that we're facing, but I am choosing to believe that you are greater than my issue.
Oh, yes. Come on now.
And choosing to believe, and
Woo!
This is...
You're about to make me run, girl. About to make me run.
And this is another thing that God really was sharing with me, was that...
Listen, this is all new information. I'm just sitting here like, wow, yeah. We did. Normally, we talk about the video beforehand, but we hadn't had much time to do that. And I was like, babe, we're just going to get on. We're just going to flow, you know, because God's got so much He's downloading for you, for me. And there's just, I'm like, yeah. And so I'm just sitting here going, dang, this is awesome.
So the other thing, though, too, that God showed me is that, okay, Jesus, when He came for the sick and not the well. And so He was showing me that it's like when you have these sicknesses, these needs
Come on now.
in your
Come
life,
on now.
that is where God wants to meet you. It's like you can look and say financially, this is broken down. My car is broken down. These relationships are broken down. My body is broken down.
Oh, man.
And it is in those moments, those places, those very places that you're saying, wow, my life looks like a disaster, that God can actually come in with his miracle. You don't need a miracle if your body is completely healed. You don't need a miracle if you have all the money that you need. You don't need a miracle if everything in your life is perfect and wonderful and there's no issues.
Right.
When do you need a miracle? It's when all of those things are broken. When all of those things seem like they're just falling apart.
Yeah, and I think that's what Jesus means when he talks about the deceitfulness of riches. He's not saying having riches is bad. He's just saying there can be a place you get to with riches where you just think money's the answer to everything.
Yeah.
You can just, you got an issue there in the business? Throw some money at it.
Yeah.
Oh, you got an issue in this family, in this relationship? Throw some money at it. And it's like you think, I'm good. I got everything I need because I've been throwing money at it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's what he meant by the deceitfulness of riches. Not like, to have riches is bad and deceitful. No, that's not, because we need money. That's the bottom line. But it's just like, I don't know. I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
What you just shared.
And so I guess in that, when you do say, when you do address an issue, you can then turn around and say, Lord, that is the very place that you can produce a miracle, and you can actually rejoice in the fact that God is going to produce a miracle in that very spot that is causing pain and all of that.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And it was
amazing,
like,
dude.
when God was showing me that, I was just like, yes, Lord. Yes, like every place.
Thank you for problems.
Yeah,
I can see you. Give me more problems. No, just kidding. Kidding. But I got enough.
Yeah, but it's like, I just think that.
So you can see God move.
Yeah, you can see God move, and you can see Him deliver.
This is amazing. I am so blessed right now. We did not talk about any of this, and I'm just like, whoa.
But yeah, so it's just like, and I think that's
exciting.
really like what we can rejoice in. And just like, you know what? There are issues that we're facing, but we can rejoice in the fact that we have Jesus who has already overcome everything.
Yes.
Everything. And so we can rejoice that one day that God is going to bring in the miracle that needs to happen.
Yeah, because we're with Him,
Yeah.
And I wanted to touch on the like yesterday we did the video on the final piece for the peace and all that. And that was for me, But I felt like last night, I really felt like the Lord was like, all right, now it's your turn. Like, this is the final piece. Your relationship with everybody else is awesome. And you've developed yourself to relate to everyone else and God and everything. You've developed yourself so awesome. But then that relationship you have with yourself is still contentious. Yeah. It's still dual. It's still like, it's like the bad number 2. You know what I mean? That kind of came across wrong. But anyway, but it's like, and I felt like the Lord was like saying, like, this was your final piece. Yeah. The final piece for you is to stop being like you were. Yeah. How you were raised, because you still do that for yourself. Yeah. It's almost like you've eliminated that. The way you relate to God has changed. The way you relate to the world has changed. The way you relate in the family has changed. But that seed, that leaven from the past, still is in you in how you relate to yourself. Because the Bible says, seek eagerly to have a great relationship with God, man, and yourself. And so we just felt like the Lord was like, this is the final piece for you. Yeah. And it was tough, man.
It was very tough. I mean, really, I
could not reach you. I could not reach you. I was like, Michelle, come on. Listen, remember, Lanavasar gave 2 words. They were both for us. They ministered to us like fireworks. Like, come on. And she was just like, no. And I was like, come on, Michelle, look at this. Blah, 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 blah. Ministry, ministry, ministry. She was like, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't help you. Only the Lord can help you.
And he did. He did. He really did help me.
You try so much to save the ones you love, but they have to make that decision. You know? And I think it's when you really did get saved is you humbled yourself.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you know what, Lord? Boom, right there. In that moment, it was like, I'm going to rush in.
Yeah.
I'm going to shower you with my...
Yeah. And I just think it's really cool. We've been listening to it's Reckless Love and
by Bethel Church.
And it talks about, she's like, basically like there's no lie that God won't tear down, no wall he won't kick down, and all of those things. I really felt like that is what God did for me, in the sense of just like he's like,
He's
okay,
coming after you.
Yeah, this is this lie of like, lie and really a wall that it was like, okay, I'm believing, I'm having faith, but you're really not addressing things. And it was just like, God's like, no, I'm tearing that down and taking that out. And it was just like, wow, like this is gonna, I mean, it really has and will continue to just completely change how I not only, like, I think continue to interact with other people, but the things in my heart, how they get filtered, where they get put, because instead of being put aside, it's like, okay, this is coming at me, let me deal with this. And I think it's like, for me, I've had issues with becoming really overwhelmed, and that's exactly why. Because it's like there's
like
already
your sensitivity area.
Yeah.
Where mine was the stress, and yours, it's like that sensitivity area comes in, and then here comes this issue popping up.
Because there's already an abundance of things that I haven't dealt with. So then here comes some more, and I just get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I don't know why I'm overwhelmed. I'm just overwhelmed by this. And it's like, I haven't dealt with all these other things. You should be overwhelmed, because it's
you
like,
got a warehouse of issues that you just you had done no inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think too, God just like also showed me today just the importance of dealing with today. Because when God was showing me all this stuff, I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this forever. And it's going to be, you want to be like, okay, God, thank you for revealing. I will never do this ever again. And we're going to be, and God just
and here comes the yo-yo.
He stopped me there. Because he's like, you know what? It's like, it's all I want is for today.
Yeah.
Choose me today. Choose to believe my words today.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, Lord,
now.
I'm going to believe you for the rest of my life, and I will never struggle with this again. And it's like, no.
That's a schedule for disappointment.
Yeah. And it's like, no, you just need to be for today. I mean, Jesus even said, today has enough worries of its own. If there's enough for each of us in every single day to, have issues come up against us. So just be in that, be in that time. And it's like, and it's there when you just keep, all it takes is just one step at a time, And that's the thing, it can be a moment by moment thing, but it's like always just go back to God. Always just, continue to believe. And that's the thing it talks about even in the Bible. It's like, continue to believe.
And you will see
the glory of God. It's not a one-time thing like, all right, I believed. And then, you're fine for the rest of your life. I wish, sometimes it's like we really wish it worked that way. It's this magic button. You just, beep.
Yeah,
all right,
really
never deal with it. It doesn't.
Yeah.
But God brings us to points in our lives like he did for me of just like, okay, this is a game changer. It really is for me. Because it's like, because I think that the other thing, it removes fear. Because why was I trying to ignore the issues? Because I was afraid. I was afraid that when I dealt with them, all these things might happen. And it's like, no, actually the opposite is true. When you deal with an issue, healing comes. Life comes out of it. Because God is a God of life.
Maturity comes out of it. Yeah.
So it was just really good and really awesome. And the other thing that God showed me was just going through all of this, and something that came up last night and just kind of came out was just like...
What was that? How did that go?
It was just like the idea of, is it worth it? Is this really worth it? And it was coming out of this heart of just like, it's so painful.
Well, seriously, you were dealing with that last night?
Yes, I was.
Oh, I know where you're going with this. I know. Wow. Confirmation. Okay.
I was just like, is all of this really worth this outcome? You know?
So awesome.
And I really was dealing with that, and it was just like, you know, like in my mind there was like running like all these promises that God gave us, but then at the same time there was like running through my mind all of these things that would be hard and difficult, and I'm just like, is this even worth it? Is believing God worth it in the end?
That's
and
crazy.
so this morning, like, and Devin,
we had not talked
about it.
Not talked. I know. This is amazing.
And I go in the kitchen, and on the board is written, basically, you put, is it worth it?
Yeah.
On the board.
Is the risk worth the reward?
The reward.
Because I felt like the Lord was like, that needed to be, I felt like the Lord was saying that needed to be like our video, like what our video was about. But then as I, continued to process, I was like, I don't know if that's really what our video is going to be about. But at the same time, the way what you're describing in detail that message. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, I didn't even know you were going to bring that up.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I think we should not discuss videos from now on. See what happens. Because this is really awesome. I'm just an audience member right now. Just
I know.
Listening.
I think I actually
have
the first, the most time in this video.
There's a first time for everything.
So I actually saw that on the board, and
wow. And
I just kind of like walked past it because God hadn't really shown me all this stuff yet, and I was just like, I'm not even going to look at that. But then that's when God was like, all right, we need to have a chat.
Yeah.
And
that mully grub seaweed was still all over you, and I was like, wow, she woke up that way. I was like, what kind of day are we gonna have?
Yeah.
Lord? I'll tell you what kind of day I'm gonna have. Holla. I'm gonna praise the Lord.
So I was just praying, and God just showed me and I just got to this, like, out of my spirit came like, yes, it is worth it. It is worth it to go after God, to see His promises fulfilled, and to completely just lay myself down, and because that's really what it is. It's saying, Lord, whatever you want to do in my life, that's what I want you to have. And I found it was key too, because it says that daily we need to pick up our cross and deny ourselves. Mm-hmm. And that new revelation I have of what it really means to deny ourselves. It doesn't mean pick up your cross and ignore yourself. No, he says deny. Deny is a choice, which means you have to acknowledge that there is a choice. And I think that when you're just ignoring the issues, there really isn't a choice. You're just kind of like, I know that's still there, and it lingers, and
well, it's like, like when Jesus, when he was going to heal Jairus' daughter, he got to the outside, and there was all this clamor of, she's dead, this is not going to happen, all the anti-faith. Yeah. And Jesus, he looked at, he said, perceiving, and he heard all of it, meaning he wasn't ignoring it, going, no, I don't hear this. Mm-hmm. He was like, all right, I see what you guys are saying, but you know what? Jairus, let me talk to you. Ignore what they're saying. Mm-hmm. Only believe. Yeah. And then when he had to go into Jairus' house, he had to deal with another issue of, an even greater distraction of the people that were in the house wailing and boo-hooing because the girl had died, and Jairus is the one that had to him out.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, I see what's going on here, but this is not, everyone out.
Yeah.
Everyone who's not believing, just out.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is basically what we have to do to ourselves. You know,
all those
we have
negative thoughts and feelings.
Because and that's actually a great example of like being in the house, and there's, so like yourself, your house, you're a temple of God, but there can be all of these negative things inside. You can either try to ignore it, or you can kick it out, you know, but in order to kick it out, you have to address the fact that they're there, you know?
Yeah.
And
you have to come face to face with it.
Yeah. And then God just reminded me too of just Jesus himself. He had to say, is the risk worth it? You know, is this risk of me having to go to death and having all of our sins placed on him worth
the joy before him? Yeah.
that God had placed before him? And he said yes. And it reminded me too, I don't remember where it is, but the what we face, like our afflictions are minor.
Oh yeah, I think that's 2 Corinthians 4.
Yeah.
The light momentary afflictions.
Yeah.
It's not even worth comparing to the glory that will be revealed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 2 Corinthians 4.
And I just was like, wow, like really these afflictions we face are light and they're momentary. Now,
compared to eternity. Yeah, all of it is. Yeah.
But I think too it's like it's still an affliction. It still hurts. It's not saying that those things aren't painful, that those things are not, don't affect your heart, but it's like in comparison to eternity, they're nothing. Like they're light. They're not this super heavy burden. And
a year into eternity, you're not going to remember it.
Yeah.
So 6.8 billion years into eternity, you're definitely not going to remember it.
But I just think though too, it's what is wonderful and amazing about God is he's like, okay, you are going to be afflicted. You are going to have pain. You are going to suffer.
John 16:33 right there.
But I am here with you.
Yeah.
You know, he is
take courage
here to help us. And so in light of all that, it was just like, yes, God, it is so worth every risk you are asking me to take for the greater joy that you have set before me, to see you manifest yourself in my life, you know? And it's like, I don't know, it just, for me, there was just this resounding yes. God, you are worth it.
Yeah.
No matter what pain comes into my life, no matter how our circumstances are, you are worth going after. You are worth the fight. It's like fight the good fight of faith.
Faith, right.
And it's like, yes, it is worth the fight, you know? And
yeah.
So that was just really like some of what God showed me. And he also gave me in Revelation chapter 20. And
Revelation chapter 20 or 3?
Oh, I mean 3. I don't know why I said 20, but I'm sure that's a great chapter too.
That's interesting that you were going to go to that, because I was going to be like, oh wait, we got to finish off with this.
Yeah.
Because I really feel like what you're saying is, I'm really glad I'm not part of the video, honestly. But I really feel like what you're saying is like, it's really going to minister and set a lot of people free. It's because there's like it's like that birdcage vision you had. It's like there's going to be a lot of people that are set free by what you're saying, because you just went through it. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's so me right now, and I need to do this. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are going through a similar thing, but they're pushing through, but they don't remember really what the promise is. But they're really blurry on what the joy is that's set before them. Because like I was saying to Michelle earlier, I was like, when God speaks and when the devil speaks, they always speak with a promise. They're trying to get you to focus on a promise. God's not saying, hey, just do this for me. No, he's saying, do this and then this will happen. Continue to believe. That's all. Just continue to believe. No, continue to believe and you will see the glory of God. So I just thought it was really cool. And then you decided to do this, because I was like, man, this is like, people are going to want to know these. I feel like there's a lot of ladies out there, honestly, that are going to want to know the promise. And I feel like this is going to really encourage them.
Yeah. So I'm going to just go ahead and read. It's Revelation chapter 3, verses 7 through 12, actually. Okay. So it says, basically the angel, he's and to the angel, messenger of the assembly church in Philadelphia, write, these are the words of the Holy One, the true one, he who has the key of David, who opens and no one shall shut, who shuts and no one shall open.
That's Isaiah 22 reference there.
Yep. I know your record of works and what you are doing. See, I have set before you a door wide open, which no one is able to shut. I know that you have but little power, yet you have kept my word and guarded my message, and have not renounced or denied my name. Take note, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan who say they are Jews and are not, but lie. Behold, I will make them come and bow down before your feet, and learn and acknowledge that I have loved you. Because you have guarded and kept my word of patient endurance, have held fast the lesson of my patience with the expectant endurance that I give you, I also will keep you safe from the hour of trial, testing, which is coming on the whole world to try those who dwell upon the earth. I am coming.
Wow, think about that. Hold on. That's crazy. I just saw this. Like, they're going to be, wow, this is amazing. Honestly, this should make you shout and rejoice for what you're going through, because it's almost like the Lord's like, I'm going to protect you from the hour of trial and testing because you've already gone through it. I'm going to put you in a safe place. You're going to be one. You're going to be my first choice. Like, you've already gone through it and you've proven yourself over and over and over. Like what the verse 9, I believe, is saying. It's like, no matter what you've gone through, you've continued to persevere and endure, and your heart is, that lamp in your temple is still lit with the flame of love for God. It's like, oh, I'm totally setting you aside. I don't need to test you. I've already done it. You've allowed me to test you when the grass is green. So I'm not going to test you when the grass is dry. No, you've already been tested. That's awesome.
It says, I am coming quickly. Hold fast to what you have, so that no one may rob you and deprive you of your crown. He who overcomes is victorious. I will make him a pillar in the sanctuary of my God. He shall never be put out of it or go out of it. And I will write on him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, the New Jerusalem, which descends from my God out of heaven, and my own new name.
Wow, that's awesome. It reminded me of that song, Better Is One Day, because we were talking about that last night or the other night or something. It was like, better is one day in your courts than thousands elsewhere. Well, then how much better is like eternity in God's courts? And you don't ever have to go elsewhere. You know what I mean? It's like you have everything you need when you're right there with the King. You have no lack, you don't have any of that, I just thought that was just really awesome.
It was very awesome. So, God is our overcomer, I think. And it's just
That's what Joah prayed this morning.
He did.
He's like, God, I pray you would show us how overcoming your love is. I think it's really cool that all this is happening on the 17th, which is a number of overcoming. So I'm just throwing that out there.
No, this is definitely for me just a huge overcoming
This is your day
victory.
For sure, This is your final piece.
Yes.
So.
Woo, I'm excited. So that's just really what God has been doing on my heart. He really has just overcome. And I love all of that was said in Revelation, because it really just spoke to me. It's like, yes, like God has seen. He has seen what we have done, and just that endurance. And I think
that word that Lana Vosser came out with about like for those faithful ones who have been consistently sowing in other people and all that. I mean, I didn't share it on my Facebook because I didn't feel like I should, but it's like it really does speak to what you're talking about. It's like in the Philadelphia church as well. It's just like you continue to press on. I think of and there's so many people I think of that we have contact with it because of the YouTube channel, and it's like it so applies to them as well. It's just like,
and I think too, what just kind of stuck out to me, it's like I know that you have but little power.
Yeah.
And it's just like
you ain't got much,
but
like, what you do have, you work with it and you do well.
Yeah. And it was just like, oh, yes, Lord, I know. I feel like, it's like I don't have a lot of power, but
and thank you for acknowledging that.
Yeah.
That's what's so cool.
Yeah. And I don't know, I just loved all of what he was saying to me through that, of just like, okay, he has overcome, all of these things, and just through his victory in my life, I'm just like, wow, talk about reckless love. Like, God, it just continues to pursue my heart, and I'm telling you, I did not like it at the time at all. Like, I mean, I was so broken and so just, crying and all of that. And
Rachel weeping for her children.
Yeah.
No, seriously, man, you were inconsolable.
Yeah. And it's just like, but God still came after me, and he met me, and he brought victory in an area of my life that has been a really just this place that needed to have overcoming in for
your whole life.
My whole life, basically.
Yeah.
And so it's really just
well, see,
awesome.
The cool thing is, in that quiet place that God had me in last night, I felt like he said, and on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to put this at a 6, but I felt like the Lord was like, it's time to plant the tree. And I'm like, wow, even more progression in that vision of everything that he's been speaking. So it's like, I had my final piece, and then we both had the final test.
Yeah.
Then I had the final piece, and then you have your final piece. I'm like, Lord, are there any other finals?
Yeah. It's like the final piece was peace.
Yeah.
We both had to get peace, because that is really what is bringing to my heart is peace.
Yeah, both those issues were, and I felt like the Lord was like, these things have to be dealt with, because when I plant you guys, the tree, into the soil, that would not just contaminate the tree, which is our family.
Yeah.
But it would contaminate the soil, meaning it would contaminate the area and the people and just everything that God wants us to influence with his spirit. And it's like, for too long, God's been using contaminated vessels because that's all that's available. Mm-hmm. And God's like, I am not ready to use you and validate you through using you. No, if your identity's wrapped up in that, I don't want to use you anyway.
Yeah.
Because he's just, I'm done with that, And so it's like, in order to have like the purest like manifestation of his heart's desire, it's like you have to go through this pruning and this purifying process, and it's like he wants to do it.
Yeah.
He's not doing all this stuff so that he can use us.
Yeah.
He's doing this because he loves us, and in planting us with love, founding us securely on love, using us will just naturally happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not the end goal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, the end goal, obviously he wants us to use us to bring other people into a relationship with God.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not the ultimate reason.
Yeah.
He's wanting to do all this stuff. He's wanting to do all this stuff because you're bound up and you don't need to be bound up. And I want you to be free,
Yeah. Well, and like you said too, it was like he's doing all of this because why did Jesus go through what he went through? So that he could present all of these people as a gift to God, and that's really, he's answering the prayers of Jesus when he's working in our life.
All these restored images of God back to his heart, his original vision, his original intention.
So
Yeah.
I hope that you guys are blessed by this and have learned from what I've learned. And
She's back, y'all. She's back. Give me a little Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
and I did. No, I had that picture in my mind a lot.
Oh, yeah?
Just, yeah, like, you know, because
While you were going
while
through
I
it?
was going through
Oh,
stuff. Yeah.
see, that was the Lord, man.
Yeah.
That was the Lord saying, this is who you are.
Yeah.
This is who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, stop encouraging me. This is who you are.
Yeah.
God doesn't care. He don't listen to us. He doesn't listen to our negativity.
No.
He purposely is like, I don't even hear what that is. Hey, this is who you are.
Yeah.
God bless you. Or me bless you. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
So I hope that you guys are just encouraged and that, you know, that this really, I do pray that God can take what he's done in my life and help break things off in your guys' life, because it's God and who he is. And so yeah, until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Love you guys.
Bye.
See you later.